So Boruto is officially on hiatus. Well, not exactly. In fact, it's actually the end of part 1 of Boruto. Now, I kind of wanted to talk about this. We're going off the dome, no script, just kind of improvised here. First things first, you can see right here. Let's go to the website. Let me pull it up. Officially posted on March 9th, 2023, the anime Boruto Naruto Next Generations began in April of 2017. 6 years have passed since then, but episode 293, which is only 3 episodes from now, set to air on March 26th, will mark the last episode of the first part of the series. Meaning that the actual finale of the entire series of Boruto, at least part 1 as we know it, is coming in like 3 weeks. They follow up by saying, "Don't worry, Naruto and Boruto saga is not over yet," and the bolded statement is, part 2 of the anime is already in the works. And that's all they left us with. So, this is a lot of things. And I have a lot of questions. So first of all, they've been animating the code arc at about 2-ish chapters per episode, meaning episode 293 will likely be, well, let's do the math here. So 290 was chapter 61 and 62. So 291 will be 63 and 64. 292 will be 65 and 66, and 293 will maybe be 67 and 68, but that's kind of it's kind of a weird stopping point, right? A lot of people are saying maybe they'll stretch out chapter 65 and 66, and 293 will be the conclusion of chapter 66, which, spoiler alert, that's when Boruto dies, right? He's killed by Kawaki, essentially, and is like literally and medically dead. Obviously, we know he is revived by Momoshiki himself, but at this point, if they ended there, that would be kind of fire. But that's best case scenario. I feel like they're probably not going to be able to stretch chapters 65 and 66, which is just fighting, right? Typically, a fighting chapter only takes up a small portion of an episode, and they need more dialogue and other things to fill up that 20 minutes of airtime. Because as it stands, we have 3 20-minute episodes. That's an hour of content. But all the chapters leading up to 66 is just fighting. There's no dialogue. There's no nothing. It's just people throwing hands. So for them to make an hour of content out of nothing but throwing hands and concluding with Boruto dying, I can't see that happening. So the next guess is maybe they end at the end with chapter 67. That's Boruto being revived by Momoshiki and Kawaki getting blasted by Daemon, essentially, and then Ko just escaping, but leaving like his claw mark on Shikamaru. And Boruto being revived, and then Momoshiki essentially is just like, those blue eyes will take everything from you, bad things will happen soon, blah blah blah. And then it ends. That would be kind of interesting. But when you look at it that way, yeah, it's a cool ending, but all things considered, we really are not at any sort of natural conclusion to the story, right? We're like in the middle of an arc. In fact, we're not just in the middle of an arc, we're like in the middle of the action, because the very next chapter, Code attacks the Leaf and, starts throwing hands with Delta, and Ada starts to appear. Like, this isn't a natural conclusion to the arc. So for them to kind of pretty abruptly announce, ooh, the anime is ending, part 1's over, and try to make this big deal about it in the middle of an arc just seems odd to me, because there are other points in this arc that they can reach a natural conclusion. Chapter 71 is essentially, in my opinion, the end of the Code arc, right? He gets his limiters unlocked, he's betrayed, and then he declares vengeance, and then we kind of get a bit of a time skip. That would be a more natural place to end the series, right? Ending it here is so odd because we've introduced Ada, who's ultimately going to do nothing in the time we have left. We've introduced Daemon, who is ultimately going to do nothing, especially if they end on chapter 66. And Code is ultimately going to do nothing. We're not going to defeat the main villain. Nothing's really going to happen. We just kind of start an arc and then abruptly end it really quickly. So this kind of got me thinking, why are they doing this? Is it a scheduling issue? Are they trying to rebrand the series? Are they canceling it? Is there money issues? There's so many questions I have that seem unclear. Now, I haven't really looked at Twitter. I know people who claim to be animators or part of the project are saying that it's for scheduling issues. They're trying to fix the schedule because animators are being overworked and they're producing low quality content, which we saw in the Funato arc, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, even leading up to the that kind of time period in between like the Squid Games arc and then the Sasuke Retsuden arc. Like there were so many weird errors. Sasuke had like both his hands. We had this terrible animated fight of Sasuke fighting like an animal, Boruto crying. Like there was a lot of weird shit that we didn't typically see at the beginning of Boruto. Like pretty much the first 100-ish, even up to 200 episodes of Boruto are like pretty well polished. There's some iffy parts after between the Momoshiki arc and, you know, when the car stuff starts. But generally speaking, the first half of Boruto is really good, and it wasn't until after the Ishiki fight that the anime started really going downhill in terms of production, in my opinion. I think it's pretty noticeable. A lot of people have complained about it online, and, you know, if you pay attention to the show, you can tell the quality has suffered, and that may very well be because of some sort of production scheduling issues. And maybe this hiatus is a good thing. We, you know, get everyone caught back up, we make a better schedule, we give everyone a break, and come back full force to finish off the Code arc. If that were the case, I don't think they would be branding this as the end of part 1, right? Because if we go back here, they have done hiatuses in the past. I believe if we go to, Boruto episode 154 aired on April 26th of 2020. Episode 155 aired on July 5th of 2020. So we had about a 3-month hiatus, which is exactly what people are saying is happening now. They're just going on a 3-month hiatus to fix the production or whatever. They're just going on a 3-month hiatus, you know, let the manga get ahead, finish the story on time, right? And that would be perfect. If this was just a simple hiatus, I would be all for it. Kind of weird timing, but whatever. But the fact that they're branding this as a complete conclusion to the story and, you know, part 2 is in the works, sort of like, I almost want to compare it to Bleach, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they did with Bleach. Bleach is like, oh, part 1 of Bleach is done, get ready for part 2. And then Bleach fans had to wait like literally 10 years for part 2. And guess who was in charge of animating Bleach? Studio Pierrot, okay? Pierrot? Studio Pierrot. I'm going to say Pierrot. That makes sense. Or Studio Pierrot. Pierrot? I don't want to know if the T is silent or not. That's what's throwing me off. And that's the same studio that's in charge of Boruto. So it's a little concerning. Hopefully this part 1, part 2 thing is a good thing for Boruto, right? But the nature of how abrupt this seems, out of place it is, for an anime that's really strived for nothing but consistently releasing episodes every week, for them out of the blue, in the middle of arguably one of the most important arcs in the show, to just flat out stop it and say, oh, part 1's over. It seems like their hand is being forced on this, and I'm not quite sure why. Perhaps maybe they started the Code arc too soon, and didn't even have enough time to animate anything beyond chapter 66 or 67, and if that's the case, then maybe this is sort of a bluff of like, oh, we're just ending part 1 to cover up for some sort of mistake they made on their end, starting the Code arc far too soon. But yeah, I'm slightly concerned. I feel like this 3-month hiatus people are saying might be a little more than 3 months. I also want to address people who are thinking this is going to be some sort of time skip and the anime is going to derail from the manga, no longer follow it, and they're going to do their own thing and do a time skip. That doesn't make much sense, right? They've been following the manga the whole time. Why would they randomly stop doing that in the middle of an arc? Are they going to come up with their own anime original way for Code to get his limiters released? They're just gonna not include Shibai and Shinjutsu and all this stuff that we've added to the story. Kawaki, you know, betraying Boruto, them fighting, him leaving the village. We get a flash forward of Mitsuki going Sage Mode. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff coming in the story that's already been written in the manga. So for them to just randomly split ways with the manga and start doing their own story in the middle of a manga arc makes no sense to me. So I don't think that's going to happen. For reference, the manga has not even had a time skip yet. So for people who are thinking, oh, part 1's over, it's time for the time skip. It's not time for the time skip. There's no time skip that's happened, right? It's just this false promise that everyone's kind of been blindly following in hopes of it happening one day. And I think there's like a separation between people who are genuinely just fans of Boruto, like they like the story, and then others who just kind of bandwagon and follow it waiting for the time skip, or Boruto's Jogan or whatever. Like, they don't actually care about the story. But yeah, Boruto's going on hiatus. I don't know what this means for the series, but I'll continue making Boruto content. I might update that episode guide that I made once the series concludes to make like a full guide to watching Boruto Part 1. I think that'd be pretty cool because that video is getting a lot of traction right now. I think it's at like 50,000 views, so thank you guys so much for that. Also, thank you guys for like 170 subscribers. That is crazy. We're closing in on 200, and that'd be an insane goal to hit, and I think at the rate we're going, I should hit it pretty soon by the end of the month. So yeah, looking forward to that. Gonna do more Boruto content. Gonna do different animes. If you guys have any anime or manga you want me to make videos on, just drop a comment down below. I think I might start trying to react to other shows. There's tons of anime that I haven't watched yet that I've got on my list, and I think it would be fun to film like reaction content to that. I really enjoyed making that previous Boruto reaction video, so yeah, if you guys are new here, drop a sub, hit that like button, and take care. I'll see you later. Peace out, boys.